Okay, Bruce, I'm recording. I forget what number this is. Maybe it's number 5 of How Does This Make Sense? I'm actually I had somebody, a friend of mine, say, "Hey, can I be part of this?" I said, "No, you can't." And he watched it, so he's going to say, "No, you didn't say no, you can't. You said I'll talk to Bruce about it." So anyway, that's for another time. Um, let's talk a little bit about something. It's a little bit tough to talk about, but it's in our face. I mean, this past week and couple of weeks, we've been seeing, these statues coming down all over the place, and syrups and cereals being taken off the shelves. And a lot of people are trying to deal with this phrase that they're being faced with called systematic racism. And, whenever we hear like big words like that, it's always tough to internalize exactly, what do you mean by all that and what's going on? But I think you and I are both agree that sometimes there's pretty simple solutions or some basic things you could do to address some real big issues. We've both been sort of blessed with recent projects with working in the public housing area throughout the United States, not just one particular area, and also a major initiative in New York City where people who live in some of those urban environments taking the developmentally disabled or mentally disabled into their homes to live. And I currently work with an organization called Elevate that works with kids in those inner cities for mentoring. And a lot of what they focus on is making sure that they're really in their lives. And with all of this, I don't hear a whole lot of people saying, companies wanting to give money to different organizations and different things that people can do, and different executives are saying, I need to be introspective and think about what I can do. I still don't hear an awful lot about what I think we've referred to as these hidden gems that you have of a lot of these people and these kids that are in these parts of our own cities that are untapped in terms of their potential and what they could do, for all of us. We hear about the celebrities, but you don't hear about sort of the regular folks. So anyway, let me throw it to you.
Well, to me, this issue, I was thinking about this and quite often. And as a child, I really think I was on the wrong side of things back in the 60s. The Black Power movement. I was offended as a little white kid in the burbs when they rose their arms during the Olympics.
Yeah.
I feel pretty strongly that I was wrong and they were right at this point, and certainly through most of my life now. And it's a question of equality, Ed. It's a question of coaching and mentoring. Mm-hmm. It's equality in the terms of opportunity. It's not about giving special treatment. It's about when you're a manager in a company, your job is to nurture the people that work for you, to grow their skill set, to have them be the best they can be. It's not unlike coaching on a sports team in that respect. Getting the right people in the right chairs and thinking about where you can place them later so that you can continue to improve yourself. And I don't see enough talk about that within the framework of this. Companies have spent a lot of money creating diversity units and filing paperwork with the government, but really finding the best and brightest and finding the right chair for them, I don't see a lot of that going on. And I worked in corporate America. I heard a lot of talk, but didn't see a lot of effort in that direction. And we all have built-in biases. Mm-hmm. You want to do business with people like you. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean white, black, Catholic, Jewish, Irish, Italian. It doesn't. But people that share your value system. It's just natural.
Yeah.
That's not going away. So you've got to go in and think like a coach and take people for who they are and get them in the right seat and mentor them. And that, I don't know how you do that, whether that's a systemic problem whether that's an ethical problem, but I do know it's a problem of equality.
Well, yeah, and I think sometimes, if you put your finger in front of your nose, you can't see it, because it's so close. And some of those solutions may be closer than we think. Not obviously final solutions that solve everything, but at least get you steps that go there. I do worry that what organizations are going to do is follow their similar pattern. There's going to be these mea culpas. They're going to throw about $100 million out for a particular program. And they're going to have some additional training that is done, but then life kind of continues on the same way. And so if you're really interested in introspection, I was reminded by when you and I were both, and I'll name the company Cigna, because it's actually a good story. And we did some focus groups with people in the service centers, who would actually handle those calls for healthcare, which are really tough calls to handle. And the service centers for that time were mostly down south, and they were being manned, so to speak, by mostly minority women, with the highest percentage being African American women. And when we did this, we'd say, what compels you to do this job? And the words that came back was, we're helping people. Most of the people calling up are old folks that they just want to talk, some of them. And then they would point up to the guy, the manager, who couldn't stand that we were there. She goes, you see that guy up there? He wants us off the phone within 90 seconds. We just ignore him because we know. And then we went back to management and said, wait a minute, you've got all these diversity programs. You have a high degree of minority people handling the toughest job in your company. The absolute toughest job in your company, and they know more about the products, our products, and our customers than anybody in the marketing department. And we headed the marketing department. That included us. And then there was a suggestion about groom some of them, mentor them, to your point, corporately mentor them, because we have these executive mentoring programs, but have a certain percentage of these folks that are on your front line. And I got to imagine almost every business that's out there has got folks on their front line or in their distribution centers or delivering things that are full of the percentages of the population that they want to be able to grow and groom and show they've made a difference within their company. So the answer sometimes is in your backyard. And I think what I'll never forget was it kind of fell on deaf ears too. And we didn't push, and I didn't push hard enough for it, quite frankly, but it fell on deaf ears and said, no, maybe it makes sense, but it just...
Well, where we pushed and got some traction related to that was you guys are tracking the wrong metrics.
Yeah.
It's not time of call. Because if you see these calls, if you're pushing them to be off at 90 seconds, people just call back because they're not resolving the problem again and again. And by the way, they hate us for it. So where we got movement, in all honesty, was on some of the metrics. Yeah. But you're right.
Yeah.
But again, that gets to the issue. What are the metrics you want to look at? Is it number of people of color in these positions? Or is it getting the best people in these positions and making sure that you're looking at that with an eye towards equality of opportunity? And, listen, these are difficult things. I don't doubt it. But we're adults. We can, pull up our pants, look people in the eye and be honest with ourselves that we're all a little bit biased, whether you're black, brown, white, whatever, we all have our own biases. You can call it racism, you can call it whatever you want, but, to learn to recognize and fight those when you're making these decisions is hard. And I don't necessarily think I've got the toolbox to reach into to find the tools to overcome some of those problems in my own life.
And part of it is that, you got to work on kinship a little bit, empathy. Everyone's got to work a little bit more on empathy on some things. So, even with some of the programs that have been done in some of the companies, it's like, let's surround ourselves with people that may look different, but we're comfortable with, to your point. So when you're talking about grooming, I don't care what color you are, when you're looking at grooming people from, lower income groups or and so forth, all of a sudden there's a bit of this discomfort as well. And nobody talks about that a whole lot. But I think the only point is that, while there's a lot of issues that need to be dealt with from a company perspective, sometimes all you got to do, look inside your own garden, see what you have growing right there and what you can learn from. Because I remember that day we did some of those groups with those folks, and I'm thinking, I'm learning from them far more than they're ever learning from me, because I could never do their job, ever do their job. And the ability to sort of harvest that knowledge, that passion, regardless of who they are or where they come from, and utilize that to grow within your company. Because, by the way, in many cases, they are the face of your company. They are the ones that your customers are dealing with, especially from the service center. And I think that makes a lot of sense.
It absolutely does.
Okay. Have a great week.
You too. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Love you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.